It's now time on Doctor Who Review to start reviewing the new series of Doctor Who, beginning with the Ninth Doctor, Christopher Eccleston. Please indulge me for a moment before I begin. Fantastic. Hello, Whovians, and Happy New Year! Yes, woohoo! Welcome back. After my brief hiatus from Doctor Who reviews, I took a brief break for Christmas, and now I am back to review the new series of Doctor Who. Woohoo! Starting with the very first series from 2005, produced by Russell T Davies and starring Christopher Eccleston as the Ninth Doctor. I'm now into the Ninth Doctor's era. Christopher Eccleston, he was my very first Doctor, so this will be a very nostalgic trip for me. In honour of this celebratory first review of the new series, leather jacket. Yes, Christopher Eccleston being the only Doctor who wears a leather jacket, I thought it was only appropriate to wear mine, just on this occasion. Today's review, Rose, as in the story, not the character. So, the basic plot of Rose is as follows. Rose Tyler believes she is living another day of her ordinary life, but after being threatened by Autons, controlled by the Nestine consciousness, she meets the Ninth Doctor. That's basically your plot of Rose. So, Doctor Who, Series 1, Episode 1, Rose. Love it. Fantastic episode. Fantastic, as Christopher Eccleston says. You know, it is really a testament to Russell T Davies and his talents that they were able to pull this off, because, as we know, the classic series started out great and it was so popular, and then after a while it just descended into campy land, and it didn't go very well as the 80s went on, and then the show was cancelled after Sylvester McCoy's third and final season. And then, of course, the Americans tried to take a stab at making Doctor Who great again by making Doctor Who great again, as Donald Trump would probably say, by making the TV movie with Paul McGann, and then his era was short-lived as well. So between 1996 and 2005, we had no on-screen Doctor Who whatsoever, which was a real shame. But thankfully, Russell T Davies managed to pitched the idea of bringing Doctor Who back for the modern day, for the 21st century, which is amazing. And you know what? He got off to a great start. I mean, immediately after they saw Rose, the episode, the BBC were like, yep, you're getting another series. That was great. I think they trusted Russell T Davies as a writer because he had a very good reputation up to that point. And you know what? This is a fantastic episode. I'm not going to say it's the best episode of Christopher Eccleston's tenure, albeit his tenure is only one series, but I do really like this episode because it's an interesting idea to do it from the point of view of the companion. We see the whole episode through Rose's perspective, which I really like, and I think that works very well. Because in this instance, Rose is an audience character, and we're seeing the day in her life how she's basically fed up with her life. She's working in a shop. She lives with her mum in a council flat. Her dad is dead. She has a boyfriend called Mickey. And yeah, she just has an ordinary life. She doesn't think her life is going anywhere. And then she runs into the Doctor and everything changes. And I think it's interesting how, for the very first time in quite some time, we get to see companion's ordinary life. I mean, we did see some of Ace's friends in the classic series, but that wasn't to the same extent. We focus quite heavily in this new series on Rose and her mum, Jackie. They're living in this council flat, and they have a good relationship, more or less, but it's interesting how Rose kind of starts out as a common London girl. She wants more out of her life because she has no A-levels, no job, no qualifications. She doesn't have much of a future, so she is very tempted by the prospect of travelling with the Doctor. At first, of course, Rose is very suspicious of the Doctor and questions his every move, and she meets this conspiracy theorist called Clive, and he basically has been researching the Doctor for a long time, and at first she doesn't believe him, she thinks he's a nutter, but then after having been on the adventure with the Doctor, she kind of feels more reassured, like, oh, okay, yeah, the Doctor, he's an alien. He is an alien, even though he sounds like he's from the North. He's an alien. So I think what this episode does very well for me is that it keeps that sense of mystery, because, yes, long-time classic fans can just jump straight in, and they will have no problem getting to grips with this. But this episode was meant to be the start of a new series. So for someone who... I was 8 years old when this episode aired. So for me, it was really interesting. It wasn't the first episode I saw, but it was interesting because it's bringing in a new generation of fans. While this episode doesn't play catch-up on everything that's happened before, it gives you this piece of history known as the Time War, and from there, we get to see the Doctor in his persona. He's much more rugged, he's much more damaged, he's broken a bit from the Time War, he's lost quite a lot. And they still keep the sense of mystery around his character, like, who is this man? Who is he? You know, where does he come from? Obviously, classic fans know who he is, but for the new fans, I think it was appropriate to do that, which is what I really like about the episode. I think Christopher Eccleston as the Ninth Doctor, he's probably the most underrated actor to play this role. A lot of people aren't huge on Christopher Eccleston, which is a real shame. I don't know if he's become more popular now than he used to be, but I really like Eccleston. He's not my favourite actor to play the role, but he was the first guy that I saw in this role and my introduction into the show, so I do have a nostalgia towards Christopher Eccleston. I think he's cheeky, he's charming, his costume is very basic, and I know people have criticised just the leather jacket and the jumper and the trousers, but I think it fits his persona because, think about it, the Doctor has been through the Time War, he's lost so much, and it's a way for him to kind of express his sort of more rugged exterior. He's still the same guy that we know and love from the previous classic series. He's a lot more broken, and he's more emotionally withdrawn. I don't think any other Doctor could get away with the leather jacket, and I think it works rather well with Christopher Eccleston. And they do make that joke about his northern accent, how he does sound like he's from the north, because Christopher Eccleston is the first actor from the north of England to play the Doctor. He mostly talks like this for most of the episode, you know. I think he's got some funny lines in here. Yes, I can. This is me, swanning off. See ya. Go on home and have your lovely beans on toast. I'm the Doctor, by the way. What's your name? Nice to meet you, Rose. Run for your life. Can we keep the domestics outside, please? He has a real charm about him. He's cheeky, and I quite like that. He's not the funniest Doctor. He's not on, like, Tom Baker level funny or David Tennant level funny, but for what he is, he's got some charming moments. And I do like his rapport with Rose, and I think they have a good on-screen chemistry. Billie Piper is great as Rose as well, how she is basically this common London girl who is, you know, she's sweet, she's innocent, she's just another girl going about her life. She's just fed up, and she quite likes the thrill of the adventure. And once again, as I said, she's tempted to go off with the Doctor at the end, even though she knows she'll be leaving her mum and Mickey behind. But it's a very raw performance from Billie Piper. I think it's a great performance, how she slowly starts to become more comfortable around the Doctor. They have several moments where they're arguing as well, when she's like, all right, you know, she's challenging him and doing all that. And there's that funny moment when he can't see the Ferris wheel. Like, oh, you know, there's this something, you know, slap bang in the middle of London, like a dish, like a wheel, you know, this big transmitter. You know, Eccleston is looking for a transmitter, and she's nodding her head and she's pointing to him. And he's like, what? What is it? What? And then he realizes eventually, and he's like, oh, fantastic. I really like that expression from Eccleston. It's become a bit of a catchphrase with him, you know, when he says fantastic all the time. I think that will become more regular as the series goes on. I think the story is good. It's not the best plot that Russell has ever written, but it's good for the first episode because, like I said, it keeps that sense of mystery going. The stuff with the Autons is interesting, although they probably could have had a little bit more to do, but I quite like them. I think the return of the Autons is great, and it's nice to see them back after such a long time. I also love the character of Mickey. In this episode, he doesn't do all that much, but he gets sucked into a dustbin, which I think is a very interesting sequence. The CGI is a little bit dated now, but I can forgive it. It's not too bad. I think Noel Clarke is very charming in this role, and as the series goes on, because Mickey will become a more regular character, he will get better. But in this episode, yeah, he's good. I think it's funny when we see the plastic sort of copy of Mickey, and then he's doing the thing like, babe, sugar, babe, sugar, in the restaurant. That cracks me up. There's just the right amount of humour, just the right amount of mystery. This is a brilliantly written episode. It really is. I also like Camille Kaduri as Jackie. Again, her role is very brief in this episode, but she will get more to do as she goes on. There is that funny moment when she's trying to flirt with the doctor, and she's like, "Oh, there's a strange man in my bedroom." "Yeah, there is. I'm in my dressing gown." "Yes, you are. Anything could happen." "No." I think that's hilarious. I love that very much. And the opening of the episode is really good, how we see Rose's normal life, and then we get thrown straight into the suspense when Rose, she's going to find this guy called Wilson to hand some keys over or something, and she gets ambushed by the Autons, and then she meets the Doctor, and he says, "Run." I think that is a great first line to have for the Doctor. Run, because that's what you do when you're with the Doctor. You're going to be running. I think it was brilliantly directed as well. It was directed, let me see, who directed it? It was directed by Keith Boak, and his direction is very good. Kept the tension going throughout 45 minutes. It's produced by Phil Collinson, written by Russell T Davies, but Russell T Davies is, of course, the showrunner. And this was to be the start of a brilliant tenure under Russell T Davies' leadership. Let me tell you that. Also, the soundtrack by Murray Gold, superb. Now, please don't hate me for saying this. I love Dudley Simpson, but my favourite Doctor Who composer is Murray Gold. His music is just incredible. Mainly in the Russell T Davies era, but even a little bit after David Tennant's era, there's still some good music. But for me, Murray Gold is the best Doctor Who composer. His music in this is just phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. I love the climax as well, when the Doctor is trying to reason with the Nestene consciousness. He's like, "No, I have to give them a chance to leave. I'm not going to kill them." So I like the fact that they established right from the off that the Doctor is not a cold-blooded killer. He's not a murderer. He likes to give people a chance. And then it just so happens that Rose ends up saving him by swinging on the chain and kicking the Auton and the anti-plastic into the Nestene. Where did the anti-plastic come from, though? That's the one thing I didn't understand. Where did the Doctor get it? It's not really explained that well. Unless I missed something, I'm not sure. Ending. I do like the ending, but I don't understand what Rose does when she says to Mickey, "Thanks," and he's like, "For what?" And she's like, "Exactly." And she kisses him and just runs into the TARDIS. What? I didn't quite understand that. Other than that, this is a fantastic episode. So I think I will give the episode Rose, I will give it a 9 out of 10. I think it is a very good, very strong start to this series, and a great debut for Christopher Eccleston. Woohoo! So, that is my review of Rose. What do you think of this episode? Please comment down below, let me know. And yeah, I have reviewed the entire classic series of Doctor Who if you wish to check that out, as well as Paul McGann's era. So yeah, my next review will be The End of the World. So until next time, I'm Mr. TARDIS11. Thank you very much. See you soon. Bye for now.